Hi everyone, welcome back to the craft room. So today is the next step in our memory book make along, and this is when we start to assemble the pages, both the background and the interactive pieces, the pockets and flaps that we're going to put on. One of the things I wanted to make sure is that you use your scraps. So this is a 12 by 12 card that I've been using, so we've got lots of these extra pieces that are a really good size, and so I always have these stacked up at the side here so I can just dip into them when I need anything that is a particular size. So we're going to keep these at the side there. So the first thing we're going to do is cover our page with the background paper. Now I started this and I made a mess, so I had to restart the video. So the DSP, your paper to leave the border is 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. The background paper I'm using has got script on it, so it is directional. We will have to keep an eye on that. So let me just cut another piece of this. Now I got this guillotine because I was a bit fed up of having all the fluffy edges. So this is directional, so make sure we've got it in the right direction. 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. Okay, so we have our background, and make sure it is going in the same direction, and we just glue this on to start with. Some people don't do the background papers first, but for me it's just easier because you can put whatever interactive pocket or what have you on top of it rather than having to slide the papers underneath things and into things. So there's our first page. Scrap paper we always keep to the side for the little tags and embellishments that we do. So on page 1, what we're going to do is a double flap. So I'm going to take some of my scrap paper and let's see if this will do. So for the flaps, we're always going to go, because of the page size, I want the flaps to be 8 1/2 by 5 3/4. So let me just check. Yeah, we've got enough here. So we want 2 of these. So that is 8 1/2 by 5 3/4. And we want 2 of these. Okay. 8 by 5 3/4. That page is 5 3/4. Okay. Now for the flaps, all you have to do is score at 1/2 inch on one side. 1/2 inch. Okay. And then we fold the score line. And we just burnish along there. So now we tape this. I haven't got my tape out. don't have to put the patterned paper on this at this point, and you'll see why in a minute. So this is a double flap, and I want one of the flaps going up the way and the other flap going down the way. So all I'm going to do is very simply take the tape off and place it so that it is in the middle and level with the top of the card, and we'll do the same at the bottom. So we want it centralized and in the middle at the edge. So there we go. That is page 1 with the double flap. Okay, now let's go on to the other side of that, and this one is just going to be a double pocket. So we have got 2 pieces for the double pocket. I've actually done some here and I've not written down the measurements, so let me just get the measurements and we will cut these out. Again, scraps, we're using bits of scrap, so that is 7 1/4 by 4. This one is 7 1/4 by 4 1/2. All right, so let's cut these pieces out. Again, we want to use our scraps here. So 7 1/4 by 4 1/2, and then 7 1/4 by 4. There we go. Now, get rid of all these. Keep the scraps there. On this one, we are going to score on the long side at 1/2 inch, and then rotate and 1/2 inch, half an inch, 1/2 inch, and we're going to score this one 1/2 inch on the short side. So we need this will be the bottom pocket. We want to seal the bottom half of it. So here we go. So we really actually only need the bottom pocket to be sealed at the bottom. The other one is just going to sit on top, and I'll show you in a sec. There we go. And the same for this one. So sometimes with the albums we have a repeating pattern throughout. If you've seen my 6x6 album, the repeating pattern is simply a page and a flap, and it repeats all the way along. With this album and bigger albums, what I do is I tend to put something different on each page to make it different and interesting and to give lots of capacity. So this is the first pocket, and I'm just going to place that just slightly lower in the middle, and then we'll take the tape off here. And we're going to place that on the bottom of the page. So there you have a double pocket. So that is our first page done. All right, let's put that one to the side, clear up all the scraps, and let's start on the next page. So for the next page, it's a little more challenging. First of all, we need to put on our background paper. And remember, this is 5 3/4. I'll maybe just do both the pages at the same time, both sides. 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. There we go. Now remember, we have the openings at either side so that we get the direction right. And then we'll just glue this background paper on so that it is ready to take our little piece of interactive embellishment. All right. There we go. I'm going to have to get more glue. I've just ordered more glue. Well, I ordered more tape runners, and then I looked at the glue I've got and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I will not need to buy glue for at least another year. I've just got so much of it now. As soon as it's on offer and I think, well, I'll definitely need it, so I get it. Okay, so there is our page. So what I'm going to do here, and let me just show you, is I call it a gatefold interlace. So here's the one I made. So this is going to sit on the page like this, and you can open it up, and then you're going to have interlaced pages inside. So that people can open up the flaps. Right, so let's just go ahead and we'll make that, put our page to the side, and we will again start with our scraps just to see if they're the right size for us to use. So this is the cover, all right? So we need 5 by 10.5. Let's see if we can do it with this. Yes, we can. So we cut it at 5 and then 10.5. Now this is going to be the cover that will sit on the page itself. Now for the smaller pieces we need 4, let me get my measurements here, that are 5 by 5.25. Now I don't know if I've got 4 of these. Let's see what measurements they are. No, that's too small. So we'll just use these ones here. So we want 4 at 5 by 5.25. By 5.25. Okay. This could be, some of these elements, like this one in particular, could actually be used as a standalone sort of little brag book, even perhaps, or a little miniature photo album. You could certainly use these for this. So I'm going to keep those scraps again, put them to the side. So with these pieces that we've got, the long piece that is 5 by 10.5, we are going to score at 2.5 and 2 3/4. Rotate it, score at 2.5 by 2 3/4. And then we're going to fold those. So what this does is it gives a gusset so that we have got room for the pages and whatever inserts or photos that the recipient puts on here. You need that room so that the gatefold will still sit neatly together. Okay, so that is our gatefold cover. Now for the inserts, we have got 5 by 5.25, and let me just measure this. On the 5.25 side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. 5.25 side, score at 1/2 inch. Okay. So what we're going to do is just fold on the score lines and tape. So we fold on the score line and tape. We don't need to worry about the decorating of this again until afterwards. we just needed that base paper on so that we could put this on top and not have to try and decorate around it. There we go. Now, bring in the cover. And what you're going to do is you're just going to put, you've got two crease lines. The second crease line is the bit that you want to put this close to. Don't butt it up completely, but just have it close to the second fold line. Okay. Now, the second one we're going to put on the other side. Remove the tape, same thing. Put it close to, but not directly against the second score line. And I'm using my thumb at the bottom here to make sure it is even. Okay. The next one we are just going to place directly on top of the first page, so even with the first page, and the same on the opposite side. Okay. So we're just putting this directly on top in the same position. Use your thumb to make sure the bottom edge is even. Of course, if you wanted to use liquid glue, you can always get more maneuverability. So there we go. So flap, 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 and close. And that is your gatefold. I'm a bit squint, but we can sort that with a trim if need be. So now I am going to place this on my page, and for that I'm going to use strong wide tape to make sure that it holds. And again, you just decorate this once it is on the page, because every bit that needs to be decorated will be seen. There we go. Here I go again with my bubbles. Make sure that we rub the tape down. Makes it easier for it to lift off in theory, and it makes sure we don't have any bubbles, that the adhesive will not stick to the page. Okay, so we want this to be quite central. There we go. We can sort out a closer afterwards. So there we go. That's a good interactive page there. Now we go on to page 4. So let me put my cut creases away. So the next one, the next page, is going to have a floating pocket, it's called. So again, we want to try and use our scrap card if we can. I've got my template here. Let's see if this is wide enough to use, we need it 5 3/4. That is not wide enough, so I'll need to use another piece of card rather than the scraps. Okay, so we need 2 pieces of card here. The first one is 5 3/4 by 7 1/2. Okay, and the second piece we will use here, and it is 4 3/4 by 7. There we go. Now, scoreboard. So we have 2 pieces of card here. And with the larger piece of card, what we're going to do is we're going to score at 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So 1/2 inch, and then on 3 sides. But I want it to be long side, so it's like a really long pocket. All right. Now, what we're going to do is fold and burnish at the score lines. So 2 of these are the long sides. We're going to make a very long pocket here. Same routine, cut off the corners, cut off the corner, and tape the flaps here. Okay, pretty straightforward. And along the bottom. Now, what I want to do is the smaller card that we had will fit directly on top of that, and there is our pocket. But before I glue that down, what I want to do is punch a hole, a finger, punch a finger grip. There we go. So that is how our pocket is going to look with this circle cut out. So now we can put it together. Take off the tape. Some people might be an idea just to take off one strip of tape at a time. I'm being a wee bit gallus here. Don't know if you know the word gallus, it's very much a Scottish word. So we want this to really line up perfectly. There we go. Now, this pocket is going to sit on here, and so what we want to do is just to tape it on, and then we'll decorate that front panel. This is one that you're going to have inserts in, but we'll do the inserts when we get to that part. So I'm just going to tape this. Again, I'm going to use the wide, stronger tape to adhere this to the page, because once it's got things in it, we don't want it to be pulled off, and actually the whole process of getting things in and out of the pocket, we don't want that to be pulled off. So we're just going to put this on like so. So it's not actually a floating pocket, it's just a big pocket. And there we go. Make sure it's the right way up. And I'm going to put this slightly lower, not completely, but just slightly lower, because when we put tags and things in here, we want the grip to come out. So there we go. So we have now completed 2 pages, which is excellent, and we can continue. I've lost my page, I don't know where I put it. We can continue with the next pages. Got another 2 pages to do next week, and so that is our first 2 pages. I hope you've been able to follow this okay. I will put some measurements in the description box below. If you've got any questions, please do ask me, and I will continue with the next 2 pages in the next video. So thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.